Former U.S. Ambassador Henry Ensher, who joins us live from San Diego in California. Great to have you on the program. We've been discussing every twist and turn of this war since the 28th of February. Is Donald Trump bluffing in this Truth Social post?
Short answer to your question is I actually think he is. Donald Trump desperately needs an excuse not to go back to large-scale warfare, and he needs those excuses for a bunch of reasons that I can think of. You know, your very astute correspondents pointed out a couple of upcoming events that are important to Trump, including the upcoming UFC fight on the White House grounds, including the G7, including the anniversary of the birth of our country, and even including the World Cup. Okay, Trump really doesn't want anything to mess those up or to distract from him. So at a bare minimum, he wants the status quo. If there's a deal to be had, great. But again, very difficult for him to sign off on any deal that would satisfy the Iranians, I think. So I continue to believe that really nothing much has changed except for the explosions in various places and the human harm done as a result of those explosions. I guess I would also point out that, you know, even taking Carg Island, I am certain that the U.S. military has told the president that there would be a lot of casualties, okay, a lot of American death. That's one thing. Second thing is, strategically, God forbid, if I were the Iranians, I would be threatening to blow up the oil facilities ourselves rather than let the Americans have control of them. So that would be devastating, unexpected, and something that would rapidly increase the price of oil and keep it there for a long time. And then, of course, the Iranians would respond as well with lots of missiles and drones all over the region. President Trump doesn't want any of that. So most likely outcome, no outcome, status remains quo, unless either or both President Trump and the Ayatollah decide, as Ayatollah Khomeini said those many years ago, that they have to drink from the poison cup in order to end the war. We'll see.
Indeed, we'll see. It's interesting, your analysis of the timing, because it really is. We were discussing it in the newsroom. It's not a good look. The World Cup is just about to start. You're hosting the most games. You don't want to be at war, even though it seems something trivial. But this is so important for the United States. And one of the points that you made when we were discussing the war I think last week, you said that possibly Donald Trump would walk away with a worse scenario in Iran than the 28th of February when they went in. If they did sign what is this, well, we don't know right now, but what does it look like? Worse or better than it was on that date, 28th of February?
I think it's going to be worse. Look, strategically speaking, it's good for the United States of America if the Strait of Hormuz is open to all traffic. Traffic is flowing smoothly, and Iran does not have any control or ability to earn revenue from the strait. I think that any deal is going to solidify, institutionalize Iranian control. And so in that sense alone, the strategic position of the U.S. will have worsened. No doubt about that, I think. As far as the nuclear stuff goes, look, it's the nuclear material, I assume, is going to remain buried until there's probably some agreement to down blend it, as they say, to make it less enriched and therefore not as likely to produce a weapon. That will take a long time. I'm very familiar with that sort of process. So for the short term, and I mean for the next several months, the strategic position of the United States will have worsened as a result of this war.
And Henry, going back to the Truth Social post, is there anything that has surprised you when he talks about the countries involved here, approved by all parties, including the US, Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan? There's a lot of countries here. What has been going on behind the scenes, if I mean, you did say this is a bluff by Donald Trump, but if this was true.
So, as you know, President Trump has shown the proclivity to try to make reality by saying something or doing something. But I don't actually believe that any of these countries have actually signed off on a deal. I heard your excellent correspondent in Jerusalem say that the Israeli government was stunned, shocked by this announcement. I actually believe that because, unfortunately, in my view, the administration never goes to our allies and says something like, hey, look, we have this problem. Here's how we're thinking of solving it. What can we do to have you support us? They never do that. So they always try to make an announcement and then just expect that others are going to raise their hands and say, okay. Doesn't work that way.
Great to get your analysis. Thank you so much indeed, Henry Ensher, former US ambassador. Really appreciate it. All right, we will